Hello guys, are you able to see me, hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yes.
Hello, great.
Hello.
So let's begin our session for today. Sit comfortably wherever you are. Keep your back and neck straight. And when you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Just start connecting with the natural flow of your breath, watching each inhalation and each exhalation without making any changes. Now slowly shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture. Check how your body is and see what kind of adjustments you can make so that you are correctly aligned in your posture. In your final position, you should be both comfortable and steady. So the body should not be moving. Now gently bring your attention back to your breathing and begin to deepen your breath, going for slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. Just allow the breath to relax your mind. And now, after your next inhalation, hold the breath in for about 2 seconds and then go into the process of exhalation. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Repeating this process again and again. We will open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just feel the vibrations, feel the sensations. Now join your palms together and begin to rub your palms together. Keep your palms on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti, Namaste to everyone. Let us begin our session for today. So today we are moving to the next cooling pranayams, right? So these are two practices which are generally done together. So if you are unable to do one of them, you can do the other one. Both of them have the same benefits and and very similar impact. So it's okay if you are unable to do one, you can derive the benefits out of the other one. Exactly same benefits. Okay. So these practices, these are Sheetali and Sheetkari. Okay. So these are cooling pranayams. Sheetali Pranayam. This is the cooling breath. And then we have Sheetkari Pranayam. This is the hissing breath. Okay. And both of them, like I said, they are very similar practices. So that is why they are generally introduced together only. So that if you are giving the instruction and one is unable to practice Sheetli, they can at least go ahead and practice Sheetkari, right? So like the both of these terms, they have the root word sheath. Okay, Sheetli, Sheetkari, both of them have this root word sheath, and this term sheath means cold or cool. So both of them are cooling pranayams. Okay, in the root word only we can see that the sense of coolness is implied, right? So both of them are essentially the same practices only. Just the way of doing them is slightly different. So Sheetli and Sheetkari, I have told you in the beginning only, all pranayams you have to breathe through the nose. But in the case of Sheetli and Sheetkari, there is an exception over here. So this is the only pranayam. These are the only two pranayams in which you open up the mouth and breathe in through the mouth, and then you close the mouth and you exhale through the nose, right? So key feature of this pranayam practice, it is inhale is like mouth and exhale through the nose. Okay. So this is one very major difference from all other pranayam practices that these two specific pranayams show. So how do we breathe through the mouth? Okay, so I will demonstrate both Sheetli and Sheetkari to you. So the best part about it is that both of these pranayams, they are very fun, right? So when somebody demonstrates and even when your students will be practicing, it will look very funny. Yeah, and at the same time, it has a very soothing impact, right? So you want to keep doing it, right? So in the case of Sheetali Pranayam, you actually essentially use your tongue, right? So you bring your tongue outside, you form a tube with your tongue, and then you inhale through this tubular form, right? So when you inhale through the mouth, the tongue is outside and in a tubular form. You inhale through the mouth, and then once you have inhaled, you take your tongue back in, you close your mouth, and you exhale through the nose. So this is the practice of Sheetali Pranayam, the first one that I have written. Okay. And then Sheetkari. So not everybody, in fact, a lot of people, they are unable to roll their tongue. Okay. So for them, the practice of Sheetkari is much more like realistic or doable, right? So in Sheetkari, you do nothing. You keep like the teeth together and you open the mouth up. Okay. And then when you inhale, you are actually essentially inhaling through the gaps between your teeth, right? So you inhale through the mouth and then again you close the mouth and then you exhale through the nose. So I will demonstrate both of them. So just take a look and see if you are able to roll your tongue or not. If you are unable to do that, then you can go ahead and practice Sheetkari. Okay. So already the breath, you have gained some level of control over your breathing already. Right. And then you take your tongue out, form a tube with the tongue. Okay. So something like this. Okay, so when you do this thing, when you bring your tongue out and make a tube form with the tongue, what actually happens is when you breathe in, if you have tried this along with, or you are currently trying this, you will feel that the cold air, you are able to feel the coolness of the air on your tongue, right? And that is where your focus remains throughout the practice. When you are inhaling, you are feeling the coolness of the air that is entering your system, right? And then after I had inhaled, I brought my tongue back in, closed my mouth, and then I did the exhalation through the nose normally, right? So both the nostrils are used. There is no blocking of either one of the nostrils. Through both the nostrils, you do the exhalation, right? Now, some people, as I said, cannot practice Sheetli. So they go ahead and practice Sheetkari. So in Sheetkari, all you have to do is keep the teeth together and open your mouth up. So it's like a big, big smile that somebody gives to you, right? So it's a big smile, kind of smiling kind of. It's not a smile exactly, but yeah, you see somebody like, uh, you know, it's a again, it's a very unique way of taking the breath in, right? So you keep the teeth together, open up your lips, right? Like this. And then you inhale. Okay, so again over here, like you saw, that the teeth were together and the inhalation was actually taking place through the gaps between the teeth, right? So it creates this hissing kind of sound. Hence, it is called the hissing breath also. And then at the end of the inhalation, when I inhaled fully, I then closed my mouth and exhaled through both my nostrils again, right? So only the inhalation is changing in both the pranayams. Exhalation is always in the same way through the nose. Okay. So there is one very important thing for Sheetli and Sheetkari. Okay. So all other pranayams, of course, you need a clean environment and you need a well ventilated place. But especially in the case of Sheetli and Sheetkari, you are actually inhaling through your mouth. Now, when you inhale through your mouth, there are a lot of like mechanisms that are there in your nose which are already filtering out a lot of chemicals that are bacteria that are present in the air, right, through this mechanism. So when the air enters into my system through my nose, because of the temperature of the nose, because of the hair in the nose, right, all of these things, they capture some kind of dirt that is there. They remove certain kinds of germs before the breath moves down, right, and reaches the lungs. So this mechanism gets removed when you are doing Sheetli and Sheetkari, because uh, this breath, basically what it does, it uses the saliva to create the coolness, okay, and hence the temperature already gets removed, right? So the temperature which was originally removing some germs and dirt, that gets removed when you inhale through the mouth, right? So filtering is totally gone. So you have to be very careful wherever you're practicing these two pranayams. It has to be specifically very clean and well ventilated. Okay. So if there is any kind of dust in the air, that will get direct access to your system basically, because the process which was removing the germs, it's not there anymore. The mechanism is not there anymore, right? So in the beginning of the sessions also, I have talked about setting up your space, and in that I mentioned this thing that you can keep plants where you practice. Especially for pranayam practices, it's very good to have some plants around, like wherever you are planning to practice. So you can buy some indoor plants which have the function of cleaning the air around them. Okay, so there's specific plants that exist, right, with this kind of nature, which cleanse the air, right? And they are indoors, so you can place them inside. They don't even require a lot of watering, not a lot of upkeep. So you can buy those, have them in your space, and they will especially support you in the practice of Sheetali and Sheetkari, because most of us, we cannot move out of the city. We cannot completely change our location just because you want to practice pranayama, right? So in cities, especially if you live in a city, um, the levels of pollution, they are very very high. Okay, and they are not ideal for pranayam practice. But you can at least, rather than changing the environment, what you can do is you can set up your space in this way that uh, you don't feel the impact of such a polluted like environment in your pranayam practices. So these days even air purifiers are there. So again, it depends on you. If you want to go ahead, place an air purifier in your room, go ahead, do that thing. But plants are more like a more natural approach to the same kind of thing that you want to do, right? So one very good example of such a plant is the rubber plant. So it doesn't require a lot of upkeep, and it doesn't take up a lot of space also. So for a long period of time, it can be in a very small pot, and then as its roots grow, then you have to get a bigger pot, and it has a good life also. So you'll just have to go ahead and buy one or two, three, however many you want, and they will stay with you for a lot of years, right? So if you are into gardening, especially, you might know of other such plants also. So you can go ahead, do your own research, and buy the plants that you find are most suitable for you and easily available also for you, right? So you can take a look at that. Especially in the case of Sheetali and Sheetkari, just don't sit anywhere and start practicing these two pranayams. It's very important you are already in a clean environment. Okay. Now, like the other cooling pranayams also, Shitli and Shitkari should not be done during winters or in places where the temperature is very low. Okay, so this is again, these two are again seasonal practices. So they are going to, give you the most benefit if you do them in summertime, or at least in a time where the coolness that is generated by them, it is appreciated, by your body. Okay. uh, Both Shitli and Shitkari, they have very similar contraindications also. So who cannot practice, so most of them are similar, but one or two of them are specific to each of the practices. Okay, so first thing, Shitli and Shitkari, both of these practices, they should not be practiced by people who have low BP, chronic low BP, right? Then also, they should not be practiced by people who have respiratory disorder. So it's going to be very similar to what we have discussed yesterday only, right? So respiratory disorders, which is asthma or bronchitis, these kinds of issues, any respiratory disorder, these two are not good practices. Then in the case of any kind of mucus, cough or cold, again, if you do Shitli and Shitkari, it might aggravate that thing. So just avoid these practices during such times. Um, in the case of heart patients, again, retention is not advisable, and you have to be very careful. Again, these are cooling pranayams, and retention has, I told you yesterday also, it has the opposite impact. So be very careful whenever you choose to add retention to your practice. It should never be more than what you are capable of, generally also. But in cooling practices, you again nullify the impact, right, of what you are doing. So you have to be very careful with the retention. And heart patients, they should not go for retention in uh, any kind of pranayama, right? If you are a patient of chronic constipation, again, these are not the practices for you, because these practices have an overall cooling down effect on the body. And constipation, again, um, the system gets jammed already, so you don't want to jam it further by creating that kind of internal environment also in the body. Especially for the practice of Sheetkari, in which you have to keep the teeth together and open up your mouth. In that case, especially, do not go for this practice if somebody has sensitive teeth, right, or they have missing teeth. Okay, so in those cases, Sheetali Pranayama is better than Sheetkari. And in case of Sheetali, again, if you cannot roll your tongue, then it is better to go for Sheetkari. Okay. So just be careful when you are doing both these pranayams, and especially right now, if you are situated in a place where it is very cold. So in general, also today we are only going to practice a few rounds. So you're not going to go for too many rounds. If you can do one practice and not the other, then you can go ahead and repeat that practice again when I give the instruction for that practice. Okay, the other practice. Or else you can experiment with both. If you are able to do both, you can see which one you prefer more, right, out of the two. So let's come to the benefits, and then we will go for the practice only. So both Sheetali and Sheetkari have amazing benefits, and these are practices which are currently very much required. Okay, because of the kind of stress we are undergoing, because of the kind of lifestyle that has come up. So first thing, uh, both Sheetali and Sheetkari, they can be used to end your yoga session. You can go for asana practice, then you can go for some heating pranayams, and then at the end you can close your session with the cooling pranayams, because yoga gives you energy at the end of your session. Okay, so most people who practice yoga, they do it in the morning and they feel very energized and ready for their day, rather than activities like gymming which drain you out. Okay, so yoga is specifically supposed to give you energy. So when you end your session with the cooling and tranquilizing practices, it prepares the mind, it makes the mind ready for what is supposed to come next. Okay, so these two pranayams, again, you can incorporate them at the end of your practice. Okay, at the end of your session, after you have completed all the practices, you can go ahead and introduce Sheetali and Sheetkari. And after this, if you close the session, the people, they will, leave very satisfied, very calm and peaceful, right? They will be very peaceful and ready to begin their day, basically, right? So rather than going for asana practice, then going for some cooling practice, and then hitting pranayams, just combine them in such a way that it's a smooth protocol that you prepare, basically, when you go for such practices. So Sheetali and Sheetkari, both of them have great benefits. On a physical level, again, your rate of respiration, your BP, meaning BP and your heart rate, basically, it goes down, okay, when you do these practices. So again, all of the benefits that are associated with these things, they can all be derived just simply through the practice of Sheetali and Sheetkari, right? So for example, if somebody has hypertension, these are great practices because of the kind of impact they have on the body, on the system. right? So overall, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. Again, it's the system associated with the relaxation. So if you want to induce that kind of impact, right, at the end of your sessions, again, Sheetali Sheetkari, they are really good practices, right? It takes you into a very relaxative kind of state. Your nervous system, it literally, relaxes when you do Shitli and Shitkari. Hence, people who face any kind of tension or stress in their lives, it is good to take out some time and practice both Shitli and Shitkari, right? On a mental level, there's a lot of mental peace, calmness that gets induced with the practice of Shitli and Shitkari both. So you can go ahead and do that in this respect also. If your mind gets overwhelmed or is it's running a lot, it's a great practice for people who have anxiety and insomnia. In fact, it relaxes the system, and it helps them sleep, it helps them think more clearly, comprehend more clearly, right? Whatever they want to do or say, it becomes easier for them, right? If you come on an emotional level also, again, you are having the same kind of benefits, the emotional ups and downs, and too high of one particular emotion, right? That gets simmered down with the practice of Shitli and Shitkari, but continuous practice. Don't expect that one day somebody is getting too angry and then next day they are not getting angry at all. It has a slow impact, but gradually with practice, the extremities of the emotions also, they also get settled down. Both Shitli and Shitkari, they are not only great practices for cooling down the mind, the body, your entire system, they are great practices if you feel thirsty and if you feel hungry and you don't have access to food and water. Okay, so yogis, you would have seen, when they go into isolation, there is no surety that they will get food or they will get water, right? So sometimes, when you have the extreme urge to just drink water and it's not available. I don't know if it has ever happened with you guys, but it has happened with me when I really needed some water, right? And I did not have access to it. Then practicing Shitli and Shitkari, it will um, relax this urge, right? So at one point of time, this urge, it becomes too extreme, right? Sometimes you're feeling very hungry, you don't have access to food, right? So in these cases, it helps the yogis and it can help you also to manage both the thirst and the hunger, right? It's a great benefit of both Shitli and Shitkari. And now you have good amount of answers to how yogis survive in extreme conditions. They have their heating pranayams, they have their cooling pranayams. Some pranayams, they also help them to gain control over their thirst and hunger. So all of these benefits, they come in, and hence they are able to survive in the extreme conditions because they found out the natural mechanisms instead of looking for. So these days we are looking for external things, right? Maybe get air conditioning, maybe get a heater, all these external kinds of things we are looking for to you know satisfy the kind of, if you're feeling too hot, so you need the air conditioning, right? So yogis, they looked for the natural ways of doing the same things. Okay. So any questions, doubts, queries? Both the practices are clear to you, how you have to breathe in, how you have to breathe out. You can just drop a thumbs up also if it's clear. And if there are doubts, you can unmute yourself, ask me. Okay. All right. Okay. I did not hear you, Erica, but I think there is no doubt. I hope there is no doubt. Yeah, no?
A little doubt. At Sheetali Pranayama, I inhale with a rolling tongue, and then I close my mouth.
Yes. So
and then I exhale through the nose outside. So I have to close the mouth when in the break between inhale and exhale. exhalation.
Yes. So the
Okay.
breathing is going on continuously, but you are gaining more control through this. And then once you inhale, you just take the tongue back and close the mouth and exhale through the nose.
Okay.
Same for Sheetali also. You close the lips and then you exhale through the nose.
Okay. Yeah, then everything is clear.
Great. Awesome. So we will sit for some practice then. And if at any point of time you feel uncomfortable or dizzy, suspend your practice and go for some deep breathing. We will only go for 7 to 10 rounds of each pranayama. So you don't have to worry. If you want to go for lesser rounds, you can go ahead and do 5 only, just to see what kind of impact it is having on your system. Don't force yourself too much. I know the weather in most places it is right now, it is cold. In some places it is warm. So depending on your geographical location, just see what is the most suitable number for you. Okay. So wherever you are, sit comfortably and keep your back and neck straight. When you feel ready, very gently close your eyes and just start observing your breath. Start connecting with the natural flow of your breathing. Watch each and every breath as it comes in and as it goes out. Now slowly shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture and see what adjustments you need to make so that you become more comfortable and it improves the stability of your body. After you choose your final position, just set your mind that you're going to move your body, either not move the body at all, or you will just move it as many times as you require, just the minimum number of such times. Okay. And gently come back to your breathing. Let's begin to consciously deepen our breath. Take a few deep breaths before we step into our first practice. Keeping the back and neck straight, prepare yourself for the first practice. We are going to practice abdominal breathing. Exhale fully and feel your abdomen contract. As you begin to inhale, feel the abdomen rise and expand. As you exhale, again contract the abdomen and breathe continuously. Place no gaps in between the inhalations and exhalations. Feel the abdomen rise and contract each and every time you breathe. Try to keep both the inhalations and exhalations equal, and each time you exhale, make a conscious effort that you bring the navel as close to your spine as possible. After your next exhalation, completely suspend your practice. Come to the natural flow of your breath and just see what changes have come up after the practice of abdominal breathing. Keeping your back and neck straight, prepare yourself for the next practice. So if you need some time to adjust your posture, take that time, adjust your body position. Just make sure in the end your entire spine should be straight. And get ready for the next practice, the practice of Anulom Vilom. With your right hand, form the preferable mudra. Exhale fully. Close your right nostril and begin to inhale through the left nostril. After completing your inhalation, close the left nostril, open the right nostril and exhale fully. Begin to inhale through the right nostril. And once you inhale fully, close the right nostril, open the left, exhale properly. This forms one round of your practice. Go ahead and practice a few more rounds. Deepen your practice by gaining more and more control over each and every breath. Complete one more round after your current round and then relax your hands, suspend your practice. Keeping the back and neck straight, simply observe the impact of your practice. Stay connected with each flowing breath and see how your breathing has also completely changed with the practice of Anulom Vilom. Again, now is the time if you feel you want to switch your posture. Take some time, change the posture, and prepare yourself for our main practices, Sheetali and Sheetkari. Keeping the back and neck straight, we will begin with the practice of Sheetali. If you are unable to do Sheetali, you can go ahead and practice Sheetkari. And if you find you are able to do Sheetali, then go ahead and try experiment with this practice only. Bring your tongue out and roll it in a tubular form. Begin to inhale through the mouth, feeling the cooling sensation as the air passes through the tubular form of the tongue. And after you inhale fully, you can take your tongue back in, close your mouth, and then go into the process of exhalation. Only practice 7 to 10 rounds, not more than that. If you feel you want to go for less rounds, please feel free to do that as well. After completing your practice, keep your back and neck straight and focus on each passing breath. See what kind of change has come in. We are going to prepare ourselves for the next practice, the practice of Sheetali Pranayama. Again, take your time to adjust your body posture, take your time to come in the correct alignment. And now we will begin with the practice of Sheetali. Again, if you have sensitive teeth or feel Sheetali is not for you, you can go for another round of Sheetali. For Sheetali Pranayama, keeping the teeth together, just open your mouth and begin to inhale through the mouth, feeling the air touch your teeth and enter your body through the gaps between your teeth. Once you finish your inhalation, close the mouth and exhale through the nose. Again, only go for 7 to 10 rounds. Don't go for more repetitions. After completing the repetitions, simply observe the impact. How do you feel mentally? How are you feeling physically? What is the flow of your breath? Just observe the changes when you started today's session and as you are about to end today's session. Take a few abdominal breaths, feeling the belly rise as you inhale, contracting the belly as you exhale. Keep your back and neck straight. We will close our session for today. We will chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti. 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 Just feel the vibrations, feel the sensations. Join your palms together in front of your chest and gently bow down. Just a sense of gratitude towards everything we have, everyone we have. Now begin to rub your palms together. Place them on your eyes. We will do this 2 more times. Rub your palms together properly. Keep them on the eyes. One last time. Rub your palms together. Keep them on the eyes. When you feel ready, very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a beautiful smile on your face. Om Shanti and Namaste to everyone. Any issues, doubts, queries, anything you guys want to share? Any difficulties?
No, thank you.
I wanted to ask about holding the breath. In which pranayamas we can use it, and it's not breaking the pranayama itself, so it's not transforming it to another one.
Okay. So you are saying where you should incorporate retention in pranayams. And what did you say about transforming? I did not get that thing.
For example, we have preparation practice of anuloma viloma, right? But if we use the retention, it becomes another practice, right? And I mean this.
Okay, so that is the only practice in which there is different, the different names are used basically. If the retention, internal retention is incorporated, it turns into Nadi Shodhana, but the names are also used interchangeably, right? So there is, like in different books, you will find same practice with different names also. So no pranayam turns into another pranayam when the retention is happening. In Anulom Vilom and Nadi Shodhana also, there are different stages. You are moving towards the same practice. And basically, in pranayams, retention is actually a very essential part. We are just not incorporating retention right now because most of the students, they force the retention. So you have to get prepared for the retention also. So after you do the inhalation, like in this case, in Sheetali and Sheetali, if I take the example, once you inhale, then you hold the breath. Okay. And then after that, you go into the exhalation. But then there are practices like Bhastrika. Okay. So in Bhastrika, I told you that the breath is like forceful inhalation, forceful exhalation. So in Bhastrika, what happens? You hold at the end. Okay, so after a few breaths, basically, in that the few breaths become one cycle. Okay, so suppose I do 10 breaths of Bhastrika and then I will do the holding, right? So then when I end my practice, when I inhale through the right nostril, then after that I can retain the breath inside and then I exhale through the left nostril. So in such kind of practices like Bhastrika, the retention, as you can see, it's not between each inhalation and each exhalation. It's actually coming after a cycle of inhalations and exhalations. And in the end, when you are closing it with one round of Surya Bhedan, you incorporate the retention over there. Okay, so in each pranayam, it depends where you are actually incorporating the retention. In most practices, it is after the inhalation that you can incorporate the retention. But I gave you the example of Bhastrika. I think that's the only pranayam in which you do the incorporation of the retention later on.
Okay, thank you. And are we going to cover external retention in this course, or it's for another course?
No, external retention is like even harder than internal retention. Okay, because retaining the breath externally, it requires a lot of control. So first, initially, only the internal retention gets incorporated in pranayama, and then when the practitioner becomes more ready, gains more control over the breathing, then the fourth stage comes in, which is the external retention. So basically, right now you are doing only two stages, the inhalation and the exhalation. Okay, so Puraka and Rechaka we are doing with each pranayama. Then we incorporate the internal retention. So Purak, then we do the Kumbhak, and then we do the Rechak. And then that is intermediate level practice. And advanced level practices, we do Purak, then Kumbhak, then Rechak, then again Kumbhak. So you are having two kumbhaks, but this is very, very advanced practice. So I am currently introducing the practices more from the point of view of how you can begin, and eventually you can come to the retentions also. And I am now I'm telling you where you can incorporate the retention. So there is no scope of confusion. When you become ready for the retention, you can go ahead and incorporate them in each practice. So today what you can do, you can go ahead and see all the practices we have covered so far. Okay, and then if you feel confusion in any of the practices where the retention has to be incorporated, you can ask me tomorrow, right? So you can also go through all of them, so that when you become the intermediate level student or advanced level student, you know where you have to incorporate the retention.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Awesome. So I will see you guys tomorrow then. Tomorrow is our last session. Okay, so we will be closing this month's sessions tomorrow. So for philosophy and pranayama, we will finish our course tomorrow. And if you have any doubts in whatever we have covered so far, so take today's time, go through the things, and tomorrow in tomorrow's classes you can discuss any doubts that you have. Okay, so from any part of your course, be it pranayam or philosophy, so you guys can today take out the time to gather your doubts. All right, so I will meet you tomorrow. Enjoy your the remainder of your classes, and take care, and bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.
You too. Bye.